Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. Just a moment, just making a change here. We, all right, cool. All right, so let's just go ahead and hop into things. Thanks everyone for hopping on. Let's just hop into things, man. Get started. By watching or reading this, you're saying you understand the following. I am not a financial advisor, and this is not trading advice. This session is solely for educational purposes. If there is significant financial risk associated with options trading, and I'm not liable for your wins or losses in the market if you decide to act on this information. Let's just hop right into how things ended last week on the flow tip, on the options flow tip. Top call options flow on Friday went into NVIDIA, followed by Tesla, Palantir, Broadcom, and Coin. On the put side, we had UNH. Shout out to UNH, man. Everybody just big shout out to UNH. Microsoft, ASML, NXT, and AAL. For the week, top call options flow went into NVIDIA, Tesla, Palantir, ARM, and Broadcom. On the put side, short side, we had Baba, SMH, Google, UNH, and HCA. Keep it moving. All right, into profits, man. So we updated the profits for the year. Again, these profits are based on one contract per trade alert. So for each trade that was alerted in this community, all you had to do was buy one options contract. So it's like the ultimate risk management strategy. So from January 2nd through May 15th, we generated a net profit of $32,747. So that's just again grabbing one contract, averaging over 208% per profit per trade with an ROI of 13,000% on the 250 membership and 18,000% on the 175 membership. That's an amazing feat. We just now got through half of the month of May. So and one contract. I mean, there are some people who don't follow that strategy, one contract. So if you bought two, then you up to 64K or 65K on the year. So that's pretty impressive. All right. So again, these were January's profits. For January, we cleared 4,600 per single option. For February, we cleared 8,400 per single option. For March, we cleared 6,100 per single option. And May, thus far, we're at 4,900. So including this, the profits from this past week, we are up to 4,900. So basically 5 bands for the month, and we're just halfway through the month of May. And I called out very few trades this month thus far. So we're on the right track. We're on a great start this year and this month. So everybody who's participating, who's following along with the process and sticking to it, congrats to you, and should be motivated for a continuation to keep this going. Let's move on, see what's next. All right, market talk, man. So look, I'm just gonna start off, man. We got a lot going on. After the market closed on Friday, we I know everybody saw the market dropping, everybody saw everything that was happening. So basically Moody's downgraded the US credit rating to a AA1, and this is the first time since 1919 that Moody's given the USA less than a perfect credit rating. So the market died in the after hours. And again, we don't even know how China is going to react to this after the market, tonight when the Asian futures market opens. So again, they're ahead of us. So when this news came out Friday after the close, their Friday was already done. So we're going to see how they react to it tonight. See if we get a continuation because things look pretty bad right now in the market. But yeah, so we'll talk more about that when we get to the charts. Just wanted to kick things off with that. But I mean, hopefully everybody had a great week. I mean, it was a pretty solid week in the market. And the market, if there are situations in the market where you take advantage of those situations, and there are other situations where you just sit back and chill. So this is one of those situations where we're going to have to see what happens next week, right? We're going to have to see how the market plays out. It's going to be hard to chart a lot of to chart a lot of things today because of how hard the market's pulled back in the after hours. But we're going to figure out a way to do it. I mean, how did everybody do last week, though? I mean, did y'all have anybody have any thoughts or comments or concerns or just anything they want to share about last week or anything? Or anything they have to say?
Big win on Meta. That
All
was a
right.
great trade.
Oh, thanks. Which one? That's funny.
And the one on the back end of the week when it dipped hard, it came back later in the day, but it walked down there, gave us a good little win.
Yeah, no. So I'm glad you brought that one up actually, because that just goes back to the whole price action. So that was something that happened on Friday, right? It was it Friday? Yeah, Friday. So yeah, we swung Meta into Friday, and it was a Meta put trade. Now, if I'm a short Meta, just follow me because it's not a stock that I like to short. I own so many shares, so if I'm shorting it, just follow me. Just follow behind me if I'm shorting it, right? So, yeah, so we got in this Meta trade, and so yeah, I guess that's my thought on it, right? Just for the most part, we have there like if there's one chart that you're always going to be able to find in the chat, there's going to be a meta chart. So just try to follow along with those. But that was a good one though. I think that was a pretty good trade, and I like trades like that kind of give you a little bit of volatility and kind of mess with your psychology a little bit because and it shows, like I said, anybody can make money in the market when it's just going up. When the market is just going up or going down, even a caveman can make money. So that's why I don't even take pride in those days. It'd be trades like this one, like the meta trade, that where I feel the most prideful about because that meta trade started going against us almost immediately after I alerted the trade. And I had a few traders who just who weren't really just like ready to like I said, at the end of the day, if you follow in the process and you know how to read price action, then like I told y'all, don't P&L watch, right? Just follow along. But you get a lot of those situations where I'm like, okay, yeah, they don't trust me, they don't trust this process, and they climbing up under pressure, and but yeah, it's one of those things. So Meta start going the other way. It called out the Meta put trade. It started going the opposite direction. Members like, are we still swinging Meta or are we still in Meta? I'm like, did I cut Meta? Did I tell you to cut it? But it's cool to ask those questions. But it's also is cool. It's better to kind of look at the market structure too, and just look at the charts and just trust what's going on. So then, I knew people were afraid of the meta trade and how um, it was moving. And again, it's okay if the trade was going bad, if the structure was breaking, I would have cut the trade. I would have told y'all to cut the trade. So pre-market Friday morning, I posted a long write-up of the meta trade before the market opened, where it had to go in order for the trade to be cut, where the structure would break and the levels that it would take out to the downside, because that's what we were looking for anyhow. Market open. I think that meta trade opened. It was up a few $100s in profit at market open, and then it kind of started going the other way a little bit. I saw it was a comment that says something like yeah, the Metatrade went up to like I think it went up like 70% or something like that morning. Someone said no, 50 something, 50 few percent. They were like I hope everybody took profit on that Metatrade.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
was like, so I came out. I'm like, look, man. I'm like, you mean worry about yourself? You worry about yourself. You just make sure you took your profit. I knew that trade was nowhere near done. And I gave y'all every single level. I'm like, Meta needed to clear 644 in order for the structure to be broken to the upside. That thing was going to die. You know what I'm saying? I know when my stock is about to die. It didn't go anywhere near retesting that and then came flushing down, took out every single level, went up over 200%. So that was a pretty good trade. But the thing is, those types of trades, that's where our snipers really stand out and make make the most money, and you know who's been paying attention in class. And like Warren Buffett always says, only when the tide goes in do you know who's been swimming naked. So, at the end of the day, you can fake it till you make it, but in those real situations, I'm gonna give y'all a little key though. And I say this every week, but I'm gonna say it again. If y'all to get the most out of me, you gotta ask the right questions. So I know that you're paying attention. If I post check the I was getting my hair cut Friday. I think it was Thursday or Friday. It was Friday. And shout out to Dobbs. Dobbs said he said, man, I was the first thing I did. He said I was like 10 minutes before the market opened. He said the first thing he did was go check Market Talk to see if it was a chart there for for Meta. It was a chart there with all of the levels. He went and set his levels like 10 minutes before the market opened. Look, KK told me the same thing, and both of them killed that Meta trade on Friday. So y'all got to start doing your homework. I came in there pre-market, gave y'all every single level, let y'all know exactly what was going to do, and gave you the commentary. And y'all got to check the market chat. Y'all got to check the market talk. That's the reason why every single new member who joined the community, I always say, man, look at the start here first. That's your orientation. It's going to tell you what time you take your lunch break. It's going to tell you where you put your time sheet in. It's going to tell you what time you take your bathroom breaks. It's going to tell you where your PTO is, all of that stuff is. You know what I mean? Look at this like a real job. And if you come in there and we know you didn't look at the unwelcome packet, and you're going to ask people, where do I take my lunch break at? Where do I put my PTO? And they're going to be like, oh, he ain't serious about this. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing here. The people who are serious make the most money, and we don't got that much stuff for you to onboard. So just go to that start here. I don't care how many times you look at it. Go watch the video. I just recorded a new video for y'all. It's like 12 minutes long. 12 minutes. Study that 12-minute video to make bands every week. Like seven we clear every week with a net profit. We killing the market around here. No cocky shit, right? Just one contract per trade alert. So if you want to make the money, you make it, but just follow the process. And what I was going to say is, I went to the market talk for a reason, but it be questions. If you ask the right questions, you're gonna get so much out of me. You're gonna get so much out of me asking the right questions. I just need to know that y'all paying attention to the stuff that I'm posting. If you don't understand it, then paraphrase so I know what you're talking about, and you're gonna get the most out of me. But I want to make sure you're paying attention, because when the market opens, you know what I always say? I got a $3 million trade that got to be executed in the next 60 seconds. So don't nobody got time to answer questions that already been answered. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be like that. But that was a good trade. That was great to see a lot of y'all were in that trade on Friday, and that y'all really held and followed the process. But it be the cockiest traders, the ones that try to talk over me, go against me. They selling at minimal profits, and it's gonna be a continuation like that until you get out of your way and get over yourself, and let's make this money together like everybody else. We got so much stuff coming up this week that I want to get to with y'all, but yeah, I just want to make sure that we stay on the same page and we continue to make this money together. What's up, KK? I know you got something to say.
Um, yes. Well, that just goes back to I'm just so happy that we have such a great mentor. Like, I just think it's nothing wrong with having a mentor. It's nothing wrong with following the leader and being okay with that, because it's helped me make a lot of money. So I'm not ashamed. I'm always happy to say, you know, shout and solidify it out anywhere I can to say, like, yeah, like, he's taught me how to make a lot of money and be okay with that. Like, yeah, with the meta trade, definitely crazy trade. And in that moment, like, we all got the call out, and I saw it starting to move the other way. But I know a retest, and I know when I feel like something's breaking structure. So I just chilled and what got into a higher strike, because I was waiting, like, oh, okay, so if it's doing this, maybe I chill for a second and grab a better strike, so that, I like things that go in the money, deep in the money as possible. So that's, I grabbed the 640, you called out the 637.5. So I was like, all right, boom, if I grab this, we already see where the chart and where the levels are. And like Antoine said, I always tell him, like, yo, I love the market talk channel, because I can go in there, you see the chart in totality, you're able to put your levels, save your levels on there, and these levels be tried and true. It's not like he's just coming out here saying anything. So, I wish we could just all be okay with having that mentor and really allowing yourself to be vulnerable and take advantage of what he's teaching, because he's definitely teaching something.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and I appreciate that. And again, like I said, people don't have to listen to me, but at the same time, it sound cocky when I say this, but this is my thing, everybody, most people who making money in the market, they work for somebody, them people, and they listen to them people every day, and to make, and when I say pennies, I mean in comparison to what we make on per hour around here, right? When you look at it like that. So it's like if you just take a step back, like don't be cocky to the doctor when you go to the doctor, because that's your expert. When you gonna get your car repaired or whatever, and they doing what they doing, you're not fighting resistance on that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, but it's just, I guess it's whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just if challenge something that ain't true, challenge something that's questionable, but don't just challenge just for the sake of being resistant. You know what I'm saying? And we can just make a whole lot of money together. So I'm not looking for, like I tell you all the time, not looking for flattery or anything like that. If you got something to say, if you got a trade to bring to the table, a chart, or some news that we haven't heard about, bring it to the table. We're gonna make some money off of it if it's in play, and if not, we can do it like that. But it's just these meetings every week, we get y'all ready for the week ahead. And most of the charts that we hit on these meetings every week, if you go back and watch the ones from the previous week and the previous week, most of those trades play out to perfection. So we give you free game on here every week, and we talk about whatever y'all want to talk about, if it's relevant to those charts or whatever. But we never get any questions. So that's why I ignore most of the questions during market hours, because I'm trying to shoot the general during market hours. I don't got time to teach you how to load the magazine. That's what this meeting is for. So if we walking through the blueprint or whatever, or the whole plan, and y'all have no questions, keep that energy when the market open, because I don't got no answers. It's in the market talk. And so, we're just gonna move along with that. But just to understand, it's okay to have somebody to help you. Like I said, I'll hold the back of the bike, and then when I let it go, you'll know that I let it go. But let's just make some more money this week. I got a few ideas. Like I said, we got some app loving trades, man. Shout out to everybody who jumped in the app loving trade on Friday. So we grabbed app loving puts before the close on Friday. I'm gonna switch to charts in a minute, but we jumped into that trade, and you see App Loving is down like $8 right now. We'll see what China does tonight, but that App Loving is one of those stocks that like I compared it to the likes of, in terms of how those contracts print. I compared it to like the likes of Coin, MSTR, um, UNH. I can't really think of many stocks that print the way those contracts print. So
I
that's
have a, I'm
what's
sorry.
up.
I
What's up?
do have a question for you. Like, what's your take on watch list contracts?
Oh
Because,
man.
I've I've been having some controversy with people in reference to watch list contracts. So what is your take on that?
Oh man. So okay. Watch list con. So what she's talking about, watch list contracts are, we call them fake contracts. That's what we call them. We call them fake contracts. Basically, paper money. You know how you can paper trade on different platforms and stuff like that. I feel like if you're paper trading, the only thing paper trading should be used for is to learn how to utilize the platform. It's like, if you don't know how to 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 utilize Robinhood, then you can paper trade it, just to learn, because you don't want to be pressing buttons with real money and you don't know what you're doing, right? So you might press the wrong button and sell something instead of buy, or whatever, or vice versa. So I say paper trading is I would not recommend anyone that I train or anyone under me to use paper trade or use watch list contracts in any way, unless you're trying to learn how to utilize the platform. That's the only thing. It does nothing. So just, let's say you jumped into a paper trade and it hit, and like, oh, you're confident about it. I'm gonna shut you down. I'm gonna tell you in a minute, like, there's no reason to be confident about a paper trade, because it does nothing for your trading psychology. Anybody can jump in a paper trade and go hard on it, holding it $30 in the money, because it's a paper trade. It's not your real money. Your heart is not in it. There's no fear of losing anything. There's no real emotional connection to anything, or it's nothing to lose. So in trading, you have to get through your emotions, and in order to do that is with real money. You have to get those reps in. There's nothing a paper trade. Of course, you're not going to jump out and get started off a retest. You're going to put a paper trade because it's not real money. Of course, you're not get, you know, you're gonna jump in. You don't mind that you jumped in no man's land and it pulled all the way back. You were down like 85% on that trade and it still ended up going up 100%. Of course it happened because it was a paper trade. It wasn't real money. So it does nothing for your trading psychology. It's worthless, it's useless, and I don't recommend anybody use them. That's my take on it. And it's always been my take on them. So stay away from paper trades unless you're trying to, that's like a cosmetic ego thing. You know what I mean? If you're trying to just proved. I don't know what you're proving by doing it. You know, it's absolutely nothing you can get out of that paper trade. So yeah, that's my thought on it. Sorry for the long explanation, but you know how I feel about them paper trades. Everybody should know that. So yeah, don't post them in our community. I don't want to see no paper trades. Look, the sniper's gonna get on you if you post those in the community. Don't post them. If it ain't a real contract, don't post it. We don't care. Yeah. So
Hey Antoine, this is Susan, and I wanted to comment on the straddle trade you had us go into last Friday. Not this, just not the after.
QQQ.
Yeah,
Okay.
the put in the call that was great. I'm beginning on this straddle trade, so I realize we're gonna lose the money on the one that didn't go our way. Is there like a method to just continuously realize that that's going to be a loss against your profit?
Okay, I love that question. Well, it's a strangle, not a straddle. There are two
Okay.
different things. A strangle and a straddle are two different things. But so a strangle, right? That's what we did. So when the only way to, just to be clear, the only way you do a strangle is in a situation where there's going to be a move that happens after the market closes or before the market opens. That's that's typically a extremely volatile move that causes the market to move violently in one direction or the other,
Okay.
and you want to capitalize on that move.
Right.
So, the other side is totally sacrificial. Just simple as that. Like
Mm.
in the perfect situation, like last week, like for the most part, that one, it was something left on the other side and was able to cut it if whatever you did. But that QQQ trade went up north of, I think it was like a hundred and it was like 200 and something percent. It went up no, that went up 600 and something percent. 600 and yeah, that QQQ trade ended up going all the way up to 600 and something percent. So who cares about the other side? That's how
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like that.
Yeah.
It went from $255 all the way up to 1,800. So if I paid, 200 and something for the other part of the strangle, like that, it totally got engulfed in it's like, that's why it's a net profit of that was a net profit of $1,300 basically. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why I always say it's just like and I got this documented in the chat. Like if you look in the main chat and go into pin posts, I go in depth about how to understand the strangle, and
Okay.
so you can kind of see that. But yeah, no, that was a good trade and a good
Yeah. It was a great
question.
trade.
But yeah, just always look at it like this, because I'm gonna tell you that there are situations where it don't always play out, just like anything in the market, and you're gonna have to, and it's like, okay, there may be an opportunity where you're in a strangle and then the market opens and nothing happened, right? It's flat, but then so it's different situations because of the IV, depending on the IV too. But if it's completely flat, you can just close out the whole position. You don't
Okay.
gotta wait. You don't have to wait for the market to choose a direction. Just go ahead and get out of the whole trade. But for the most part, it's a in the ideal situation, the market chooses the direction before it opens, and there's nothing left for you to choose. You don't have to choose or do anything. But I'm saying once the market, like I always tell people, I always say this, like y'all can play with pennies if you want to. If my trade go up $1,800 on one side, I don't care about, oh well, it's $10 left on this. What do I do with it? I'm like, I don't care what you do with it. Give it to homeless or let it expire worthless. I don't care. You just made
Mhm.
$1,800. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
it's like that's the situation. It's like insurance on a car. You go rent a car and you get the insurance. Nothing happens, you don't get the money back, but it protected you and you got everything out of it that you got the insurance for. Something, you know what I mean? It's just like it's totally sacrificial.
Yep.
But yeah, but it don't always play out like that. What I'll say is depending on the catalyst, and depending on the catalyst, you'll be able to see. But what I'll say is use it case by case because sometimes, Susan, in real time, you'll have a question. I say save those questions for real time situations because again, I can't blanket the whole situation with the strangle because then there are situations where, it can be a little rocky where something's gonna take place, but it just hasn't taken place yet, but the market already chosen a direction. And it's like, okay, cool. But yeah, but for the most part, it's supposed to be a situation where the market chooses a direction for you and there's no decisions for you to make on your own. It just
Okay.
it basically just happens. But yeah,
Okay.
that's a more advanced strategy. And I try to do them as little as possible because what I saw people doing was instead of like let's just say a regular situation, we just doing a regular swing trade. Like for example, with Meta Thursday going into Friday. Like I mean, I consider if you're not a trader, if you're just scared and you're hedging just for the hell of it. You're not a trader. You're just somebody that's gambling and don't know what the hell you're doing. And there's no catalyst, there's no reason for it or anything like that. Meta on Thursday going into Friday, it was just straight puts. I
Hmm.
just that's what I felt. There are a lot of situations where we're just, we do a lot of swing trades. They just swings. And but I know some people hedge that, and I saw that. I'm like, why did you do that? We would never do that. That's just like it's a waste of money. Number one, it's a waste of money, and yeah, it's just like trading scared. I don't know. I'm totally against that. But yeah, but in terms of a strangle though, like I said, we do them in special situations, and there has to be a catalyst, something we're expecting to happen after the market close or before it opens. That's gonna garner a move so big that it isn't gonna matter. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. I
yeah.
encourage them because, the more experience I have with them, the more comfortable I am with it.
Okay, okay, okay. I mean, well, if something calls for it, I'll, provide
Yeah.
a strangle. But so you were in the strangle on Friday. So you were in that strangle, and did you make a nice profit on it?
Oh, I sure did. I don't remember, but I did. And then I saw someone ask like what do you do with the other way, the other contract that wasn't making money. And so I was like, well, I'll ask him at the Sunday call.
Yeah. No, yeah, that
So
was
that
a
was a
no, that was a pretty good one though. That was a good play, and yeah, that was good. Did you get in meta?
I did. I did. I am actually a very nervous trader, and I am the actual, I'm the one who accidentally bought a call when you said buy a put, and then I realized it.
Oh,
I
that
put
was
it,
you.
yes,
Okay, okay,
I'm
okay,
a very
okay,
nervous trader, and, I'm like,
okay.
oh my God. So, honestly, exposing myself vulnerably, I do fumble the bag a lot. Sorry.
It's
So
okay. It's okay. At least
So
you can admit
I
your
got
faults.
once I realized I was like, oh crap, I need to be in puts. But yes,
Yeah. So what made you get a call? I know you said you did it by mistake. Did you felt because the market started going up that you should grab a call?
it wasn't even that. I'm on Robinhood, and when I clicked the date, it automatically showed me a call.
All
Oops.
right.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was like the time was it was like late in the day probably too. So
Late in the day, and I thought it jumped up to that price.
it did jump. It did jump. It jumped. It was almost like for a second, it just jumped up like randomly. Because I think I think it was 3 o'clock or 3:30. It was somewhere after that when it hit the resistance. I'm sorry, hit support, and then it just kind of like bounced off of it for a second, went up to retest, and it was a hard bounce though. It was a hard bounce. It was a hard bounce. So that's why a
Yeah.
lot of people got startled by that.
So I thought it had already jumped up, and I was late to the trade because I was looking at the call, not the put. So
And you
I
thought you
like
got a better
rushed in
price.
there. bought it, and then it went up, and then I was like, oh, it's the wrong way.
And you kept it.
I kept it for a bit, and then I sold out, and then I bought the puts.
Okay, okay, okay. No, it's cool. It's cool. Somebody else did the same thing, but I think they swung the call too. They didn't say anything until they made a profit though. So now I got to watch them and I can't trust them now. So
Now
keep an
the
eye on them.
I sold like maybe 5 minutes after I bought the call, and then I bought the puts, and I swung the puts.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. I know that was a good trade though. That was a good one. We're gonna have some more. Like I said, the more y'all speak up in real time, like for example, if it in a situation like that where Meta it was just a lot going on. If I knew my team was like in shambles or something like that, or I get the right questions, you never know. Um, yeah, that's what I'm there for. I'm there to help and to get y'all right where y'all need to be. And the right questions may end up, may garner a live stream or something like that. So just yeah, keep those questions coming though. That was a good one. And thanks for being in those trades. Again, you can say you're gonna fumble some bags, you're gonna get nervous, but just knowing once you learn how that support and resistance is and where no man's land is and where how to read those the market structure, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And you're not gonna learn it overnight. Just keep taking the trades and locking in and
Yep.
showing up like you're doing.
Yep. And I was embarrassed to post that actually. So I was like, oh my God, who's gonna call me out?
No, I wouldn't have said anything if you'd have posted it, like hey, just post them contracts. The more I see, the more I want to look. The more contracts I see, the more plays I alert. And that's my motivation when I see that people actually taking the trade. So make me want to get y'all some more money. But when I'll see a little bit of contracts, I'm like, oh, somebody fumbled. Oh, they must have jumped in at no man's land or Meta, maybe they're a little afraid of Meta. Maybe Meta too much for them. Let me sit this one out. A lot of thoughts go through my head until I see those contracts. That's the only solidification. So when I see that, then we kind of get it going. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Um, appreciate the feedback. Appreciate the feedback. Now, I do have a question for you since you did ask though. I mean, do you use Market Talk?
I do. I'm still getting used to looking. I just joined this 2 weeks ago. So yes, I do look at it.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All
I'll
right.
be a better student of it. Let's just say that.
No, it's cool. It's cool. At least you're looking at it. You're looking at it. Cool.
Shout out on the market talk on that meta trade. I missed it on Thursday afternoon and was able to jump in on Friday.
Yeah, a few people told me that because of Market Talk. So yeah, I appreciate that feedback, Bryce. Few people told me that. Yeah, few people told me that. Cool, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and move right along. I mean, unless anyone has any other topic or anything that they want to bring up before I move along.
Hey, how you doing? This is Jose Palenko. I
Hey,
just had
that's
a
my guy.
question.
What's up, Jose?
How you doing, man? My question is for because you talk about how you're really, really strong in the support and resistance, and you have the price targets. And it may be a stupid question, but um, are different support and resistance levels stronger than others? Like, let's say it's going to the downside, and you see it's coming up to a certain support level, right? And then it just flushes right through it and it gets to the next one. Is it like I don't know how to put it. Like, is that first support level was like a weaker level, or was it all just based on selling pressure and volume and things of that nature? If that makes sense.
I love the question. It's a great question, actually. Absolutely, because look at it like this. Some levels are key levels, and some levels are just levels within a scope. I'm gonna give you an example. Let me switch the screen first. I was gonna, and I can come back to this. I can come back to the screen, but I'm gonna switch screens to answer that question so you can see some charts. And then we'll go back and cover the economic data second. All right, so I'll give you an example. Here is should have used Meta, but it's cool. We got app loving right here. This is the app loving weekly chart. I'm gonna go down to a lower time frame, and I'm gonna go even lower than this. Yeah, this is even better. Session hourly. It's a beautiful chart on F11 too, by the way. All right, yeah, this is a good one. I like this one. I like this one a lot. I'm gonna tell you why I like this chart though. Hold on one second. Matter of fact, I think I should use Meta. I think Meta would be a better chart to use because Meta got more options where it got more chance. I mean, not Meta, yeah, Meta. It got more I got more levels on Meta. We don't trade App Loving as a team as much as we trade Meta. And I got more levels on it that I can actually show you. Uh, yeah, it's even better. All right, cool. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. So you asked if some levels are stronger than others. So yes, so I'm gonna tell you why. We got a few things. So sometimes you'll have a level and it may just only have a few touches there. Meaning price went up there. So let me use uh, yeah, we're going to use this one right here as an example. I'm going to use this one as an example versus, yeah, because Meta's up in this zone and yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And then I'm going to go down here. All right. So right here, this level that I got right here, let's say Meta came down and it hit this level and matter of fact, I can use the smaller levels too up here. But no, we'll use this one. So we're gonna use this one as a support level right here, right? Now with this level, Meta's up. Once Meta crossed over up into this zone up in here,
Yeah,
right now, it's only a few touches on this level. And so what we're expecting now, you see, I got a few of these levels. They're thinner than this one right here. I got this one a little thicker too. I do that for a reason too, based on how strong or weak I think the level could be. Sometimes, and then sometimes I just forget to change them. And this situation right here, we got a few touches. Meta came up here, it broke through this level. Wasn't really much resistance. It kind of just broke through and it started consolidating to use this level as a little support and moved up. I mean, it rejected a little bit here, came up. We got gap up, so it didn't really spend a lot of time down there. But on the retest, came down, bounced off of this level, so that previous resistance turned into support right there. When it lost it, when it came down and lost it, went back up, rejected it. So now it's acting as resistance again, right?
yeah,
But it's not a lot of touches there. So now I'm gonna get to the whole thing. So Meta's back above that same level that was using as resistance, but is using it as support again right here. I still don't look at this as a strong level. If price was to flush and we were to get a lot of volume, I think that it would be more chances of it being saved here. I think this level was a stronger level because we got
gotcha.
a lot more touches on this level and we had a lot more touches at key moments in situations at this level. So what I'll say is a lot of buyers waiting to defend price at this level right here. Is more of them sitting right here waiting to, when I say bulls and bears about to fight or bulls and bears are fighting, it would have to be more people. Let's just say it's a million people right here ready to buy. I mean, people with $1 million worth of uh just ready to buy $1 million worth of Meta shares right here, right? And you got people selling like 500,000 worth of Meta shares trying to get through this level. If they're not going to sell over a million shares, they're not going to get through this level. It's stronger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So absolutely, you got some levels that's going to be stronger than others because of that. So I'll see it'll be times, but then the lower the time frame, the higher the emotion and the
for
less
sure.
and then also the less uh the weaker the level. So what I like to do is zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. So now I can go to the daily, and you can see it a lot clearer. This that same chart, but we just did surgery on that candle by going to the daily chart, right? Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
sorry, the session hourly. See, price came down here. He's the same exact levels that we saw on the other chart. Now you can see him a little clearer now, and you see because we got a lot of, but at the end of the day, price still came and bounced off this level, same level. Yeah, we went down here, we retested this 9 EMA, but it came back up and closed back above that same level that we were holding there, right? But again, the only caveat to something like this, and in this specific situation with Meta, is you got to be careful because this is a daily chart. Each candle represents 1 day of price action. So some people will see a level like this get broken and panic because they're watching a 5 minute chart. Now, if you're playing, depending on what your situation is and what you're looking at and what the whole what your setup is and all of that would determine whether or not you should be looking at this. I know when we were trading Meta, when we was playing those puts and everything, I knew Meta. I was like, Meta got room down here to at least this 9 EMA, if anything, and that's where it bounced off of the 9 EMA. But I had a few levels on this chart, and let me just zoom out a little bit further. This weekly makes it a lot clearer. Remember last week we were talking about Meta when we played the calls. We were waiting for Meta to break this key level on the weekly chart, and then we got that break above this level on the weekly chart, and that's why we got those calls. We obviously played it on the lower time frame because this is when it broke above right here. We were waiting for that to happen, and
Yeah,
we took advantage of that whole move down. Look what happened. Came and bounced right off of that level, and it still closed above that level. So we still got what we were looking for. Although we got that inverse hammer and everything, but it still closed above that key level. Those things be important. And that's why that level was so important to me to begin with. It's a stronger level on a weekly. And I'm gonna also tell you another reason. So let's say I marked this level up solely because it was on the weekly. I saw this level on the weekly. The reason that's important to me is because smart money, not for the most part. Let's say there are people out here who use 1 minute charts and other time frames, lower time frames like that. But the lowest time frame you're gonna see me use is a 5 minute chart. But smart money's not looking at no 5 minute chart. They're not looking at the session hourly. They may not even be looking at the daily sometimes, but they are watching those weekly. They'll watch a weekly setup. So let's just say there are people at all of those different time frames, but you get more inclusion, you get more smart money, more of the big whales being involved when you start going to those levels on those weekly time frames. So it's going to be a bigger move. So yeah, I'm gonna give that
gotcha,
put a lot more weight at this level, and it's gonna be harder for bears to break a level like this once it's reclaimed, because now you got smart money inclusion, and it's people, you got insurance companies and banks now, and they're buying up in here now. So yeah,
gotcha.
so absolutely. So that was a good
Thank you.
question. That was a great question. You're welcome. No problem.
Thanks.
It's a great question.
Hey, yo, Anton, I got a question.
What's up?
It's kind of like a follow-up question to that about the big whales and the institution. Like, if they were to like put like millions of like buy $1 million worth of shares or whatnot, would that have any impact on the trade that we in, or would it work against it, or what type of impact would that have?
So in real time while the market is open, if we're in calls, if we're like let's say, oh yeah, we're in calls, and let's say it's holding this level right here, and then all of a sudden they come in and buy, whatever it is, because it depends on what the volume is for that day. I'll say that, because let's say on average, well, I'll just tell you on an average 30 day, the 30-day average for Meta is 20.3 million shares per day. So let's say it's a lower volume day, like a Wednesday or something like that. And, or matter of fact, any time, because at market open, it's not trading at that many shares. I do believe that will cause a spike if you go to like a lower time frame or something like that, and you see, like, look at these big spikes and big candles like that. We can't do this. We don't make enough money to move these candles, make these type of candles. These are institutional candles. We can't move the markets like that. So if a whale comes in and buy a whole bunch of shares or whatever, it's definitely going to move. Now, and check this out though. Was that uh JY? Oh, okay. That's what that was. Okay. But yeah, look at this candle. This candle right here that I'm on. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can see. Like, you see this candle right here. You can see how much volume went into this candle right here at 9:30 a.m.
Yep.
I can't see how much volume was on that candle right at this moment, but I can look at it on another on something else. But yeah, but the whole point is it's a lot of volume that went in that, and if, let's just say, the only way it will make a difference is if, let's say, that $1 million worth of shares that they bought is stronger than whatever they're shorting against is, whatever the short position is on that, 'cause the short flow can be high. It all depends on what's going on. But for the most part, yeah, a million, if they come in and buy a million shares, it should take the stock off, move it up. And if we're in puts and they buy, like, think about it like this. If I'm saying this is a key level right here, and so that means, if on some resistance for support is being defended by bulls, and resistance is being defended by bears. So like let's say here, in order for us to break through, look, Meta kept coming up to this level right here and getting rejected. 1 second. Meta kept coming up here, right here, and getting rejected. That's because there's some whales up the top right here. Every time it comes up here, they're dumping shares right there. And it could be for numerous reasons. They could be for numerous reasons. They like, okay, they buy low and sell high. Some people follow that mantra and they stick to it. Buy low, sell high. So like I bought Meta right here at the level where we defended it at, and then they got up here, up, I made my money, I'm selling it. They got algos that do it all day long for them. They buying it down here where they're defending it. So every time price come to this level, they're going to defend it, and then they're going to sell it up here. So if I know that's where they're selling it, at this supply zone up here, I'm waiting. The moment Meta breaks through here, that means there's more buyers breaking through than it is sellers, and it's going to run like a bat out of hell. So that's why we trade those types of setups. Now, this was setting up to be a nice little bullish flag setup. It just didn't play out. Gap down the next day, and the rest is history on that. Luckily, we weren't in calls. We weren't in that trade when that took place. But the whole point is, it's like that's in consolidation. We don't want to trade consolidation anyway. We want to wait till the actual move take place for it to break out. So that's why, regardless of what we think, we can be like, oh, damn, Meta got this big bullish flag right here, setting up right here, right? We can say that all day long. And people say this all the time. I thought they come to some of these meetings and be like, man, I thought you was bullish on Meta. I'm like, well, we're gonna trade what the market give us. It never broke out. It didn't break out, so we ain't trade calls. If it would have broke out, we would have traded calls. If it would have broke out and gave me everything, all of the points that I'm looking for, we would have traded calls. That's what we would have done. So yeah, so it all depends on the setup. But that was a nice breakdown, and then we got a continuation and another continuation. So, but yeah, that was a good question too. I like these types of setups where you can actually see the structure and see different levels of it, layers of it.
Hey coach, I got a question real quick on the on this chart. So for my trade on Friday on Meta,
Okay.
so it went all the way. So it went past on session hourly. That purple line is your 9 EMA, correct?
Nope.
What is that on yours?
VWAP.
That's
My non EMA always gonna be my
dark.
dark blue. Yeah, but go ahead, my bad. So it's
But
this VWAP right here.
okay, so it went below VWAP on the session hourly, and then on the so were you looking for because your next level was 628, I think, like 628, somewhere around there on your market talk, I believe. And then but it went all the way down to that 625 area, which was the 9 EMA on the 1 day that you showed. So would you have been looking to get out on that 9 EMA if it already passed your level? That would be your next level of that you would be thinking, like, okay, it could reverse here.
It would depends on what the price action is telling me. Like I'm trying to go back and see what you're saying because I think every level that I wanted it to hit, I posted it on that chart. See, what I don't want you, this is what I always say. What I don't like y'all to get into the habit of doing is trying to find another level. Like you gotta, if we charted this whole plan and we said, you know what, we're gonna go in this bank, the vault gonna be open. They got $50,000 in the vault. The security go on lunch at this time, and we go in, the vault is going to be open because they're going to do this, and we go in there and the vault is open and they got that whole 50,000, whatever we were, look, 500K in there right there, and we got it and we got out of there. I'm not worried about them gold coins that may be in the other end, or because you got to take that money and you got to go. You got to take that and just go. So I think the trade played out to perfection. Every level that I was looking for hit. That's all I can say about that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to create a what if situation about if because my whole trade played out. Every level I thought was going to hit got hit. That's just the honest. I can play that game with you, but I don't want to. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Keep it simple.
Yeah. Yeah, every trade. I mean, but I did definitely say that though. I was looking because I'm gonna tell you though, but when it did take out my level, what I said to KK, I said, oh, but the 9 because I talked to KK that morning. I said, look, I said, but the 9 EMA on the daily. I said, look at that 9 EMA on the daily. It looked like that's where it's headed next. That's what I said.
Yep.
You know, But you know what I mean? That my targets already got hit, but I do like to go and see where price could be headed. But at that point, I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm taking my money. And it's probably gonna bounce right off this non-EMA right here. It's probably gonna bounce right off of it. But it's depending on the situation and what's going on, it could have did something different because look, check this out. It all depends. Cause there was a catalyst for the bear trade too. I mean, I don't think it was as serious as they made it out to be, but then it started to enter a bullish gap fill area. You know what I'm saying? So who knows what could have happened in there? It could have had a continuation. I just felt like it could have possibly bounced off of the non-EMA, but I never included the non-EMA in my thesis at all because I'm like, you know what? My level was here. I like to give my trade some margin anyhow. But yeah. And honestly, I can put 30 levels on the chart. I judge my trade based off of how price action behaves at each price level. So you can have as many levels on the chart as you want. It's going to behave at different levels because you may have a million, you may have bulls defending, you may have a pseudo uh demand zone at one point, and then you may have a real demand zone at another part. It's so depending on the volume and the situation, it can just blast through each level until it gets to a level where you got enough bulls in there defending price. So it all depends on what's going on. So that's why I like to in certain situations, I'm like, okay, like we don't call every situation a flush and metal situation. That's why I always just judge the price action. So at each price level, you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. And that's one of the reasons why I use the 5 minute in conjunction with the session hourly. So I can kind of get a real idea at what's going on with the price because I didn't zoom out and look at the daily until after it started getting closer to my third level. And then I said, okay, if it breaks through there, it's probably going to go right down to the 9 EMA. But I didn't say anything in the chat because I wanted everybody to take their profit at we cleared so many levels on that chart. So I'm like, go ahead and secure those gains and and that was a pretty significant profit. And you see how hard it bounced off that non-EMA? If I'd have mentioned that non-EMA, so many novice traders would have held all the way down to the non-EMA. And the moment, look at it like an impact in a car accident. The moment you have that collision, it's gonna knock the IV and Vega exposure out of your contract. You're gonna lose like at least a 25% um, um, part of your gains on that sort of impact. So you got to consider those things too when you're moving when you're jumping in when you're taking that type of chance and holding it all the way down to the actual target. I like to at least give it some margin and sell it before like what you did on I think it was Thursday morning uh Curly, what you did with the UNH trade, how you said that you could have held it longer, but you took it right where you took it, right before it got to the level. So that was that's the best way I like to do it. Like give it a little bit of margin so that way it don't hit that impact. Because if you're trying to hold it just to squeeze out those last bit of gains, you're gonna end up losing more than you could. Now there are situations where you see that volume pumping, and I'm like, it's giving that vibe, man. This thing is about to flush. And you got there's different situations, but you got to call it in real time, and we can judge that. Next time something like that happen, we'll kind of like unpack it in real time. And I know we have done that, but I'm saying like just to kind of bring this up again because yeah, of course, and now we were on Zoom live on if we were on Zoom during that situation when we were in that MetaTrader, I would have brought up that 9 EMA and we probably would have made more money as a team. But I couldn't bring that up in the chat without giving context to it, and that makes sense.
Cool. I appreciate that, Coach.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey,
Now we
excuse
going
me.
to
This is Alex.
oh, what's
That
up? I got to answer all your questions. What's up, bro?
that morning talk really helped me. The day before, I googled the low, the high, and when you told me that it was gonna it might hit 44, I was confident because on Market Talk you had talked about the levels that and every level hit. That really helped me out because when I'm selling my contract, usually like I don't really like do the studying because I don't know that part, but I kind of like was like looking at my trading view and I'm like, yeah, it's gonna hit 627, but it because it's not going past a certain level, it'll go up like
Mm-hmm.
$1 and then go back down. So already knew ahead of time, like I wasn't even panicking because, at first when the market started, I bought my contracts and I did what I did, and market talk really helped me. I'm hoping that you put those levels out for app too, app loving,
Oh yeah,
you
I
know.
got y'all. I got y'all for sure. I got y'all for sure. Now I'm glad. No, I was saying that on Friday, man. The more that's why I said this feedback is needed because when I know that y'all actually using something and it's helpful, then I'm gonna give y'all more of it. So yeah, just to know that that the information was helpful and that y'all actually utilized that information and got a lot out of it. Oh yeah, I got you for sure. I got you for sure. But no, I appreciate that, and I like what you said because that you was watching or you was following the price action. And price action was showing like, nah, man. It's you got to think about it. What's the area of least resistance? And the area of least resistance on Meta with on Friday was downside. So it went up and they could not break those levels. It was going up, retesting, trying to, but it could not get any traction, and it just flushed and died. So that was a perfect setup, and yeah, that was good. That was good. I appreciate you actually utilizing that information. I got y'all for app loving too, for
Yeah,
sure.
because I didn't get to buy the contracts the day before.
Okay, so you're another one. Okay, cool. A few people didn't get to get them on Thursday. Didn't take that swing with us, but y'all were able to get them on Friday because and a lot of people credited that to the information and market talk. So yeah, so I'm gonna make sure that I keep y'all up on that. So yeah, I appreciate that feedback. So yeah, I
I
got
went
you.
in heavy on that though. I went in heavy on that. That's why I made my good money on that, and I'm
Did you post?
expecting to do
Hold
the
on.
same
Did you
thing with it.
post? Did you post it in the options wins though?
Nah, I made a
See,
cool
man,
thousand
you
though.
know what, man? See, now you on my bad side, man. You can
Uh,
still post it today, man. You said you went heavy on it. Post that in the options wins.
yeah, I bought a $5,000 contract and I wrote it all the way down.
Yeah, post that in the options wins. You gotta post that in there, man. I like to see stuff like that. Go ahead, post that. Post that.
You said you made 1,000.
Hold up, just let him post his contracts, KK. Leave him alone.
No, I was just
Well,
asking.
you just leave him alone. You just leave him alone. Yeah, yeah, but that's what's up though. I'm glad you he was watching that market talk, and that's what's up. That made my day just now. All
What
right, y'all.
quick question about the levels while you got to chart up. Um, how like current are the levels? Like when you charting for metal, like would you say like some of the levels are like from a month ago or like weeks ago, like just to like it's like for reference,
Okay.
like
I'm listening. Go ahead. I thought you were finished. My bad, because I was already ready to answer your question. Go ahead, continue.
yeah, like because obviously I know these some of these levels may be from like last week because it made new levels. Like you said, it's new levels in different time frames. But I know on the larger time frames, I would assume most of the levels are
Well, just ask your question, because
captured.
I'm losing what your question is real quick.
So yeah, like so how I guess how if we chart levels, like how long can we like I guess before they're no longer a level, I guess.
Once the
Like,
level gets
like
taken out, once the level get taken out, the level gets taken out. But like I was saying a little while ago, you got to understand, like I'm always looking at like we love price. This we don't price discovery is fine, but I like stocks that have previous levels for me to reference to know how strong or weak they were and how price behaved at that level. So levels are relevant as long as price did a lot at those levels, they're gonna always be relevant. Like for example, here, remember I was telling y'all about Meta at this key level here. Like on a daily, it seems like it's a long way away before this level right here. This level right here. The reason this became a level is because of how much history Meta has at this level up here. But I was able to see it even clear when I zoom out and look at the weekly. On this weekly chart, each candle represents 1 week of price action. So I care about this because up here it was resistance here. It broke through here, it came back down, retested down here, it rejected here. So this level, this level became relevant because of price that happened back in December. So you know what I mean? So it's always going to be relevant as long as price is in the range of it and it can behave at a certain way at that level is going to be relevant. Now, there are situations where now once the price breaks through the level and we're gone and now it's nowhere near that level, and then obviously we're good on there now, but I'm saying but it's always going to be a relevant level. Now, the only way it's irrelevant is if price didn't do anything in the near term, price ain't behaving like the level is important, or it ain't giving the level any sort of resistance or support or anything like that, then I'm like, all right, cool, that level was nothing. But I'm using those levels, previous price levels, to kind of come up with levels. I'm like, now there are situations where they aren't as relevant, and maybe on a lower time frame, depending on what's going on. But for the most part, absolutely, they're going to be relevant now. But like I said, once it's taken out, then now we're moving on to the next. But it can always retest those levels. So right now, like Meta went all the way up here, then it came back down here. Now it's ready to is like it's retesting this level again. You know what I'm saying? So it's still relevant because resistance becomes support. Remember, like if it breaks through resistance, and now in a perfect world, what happens when a stock breaks through resistance? It retested it as support. Like here go right here. Meta broke through this level as resistance, came back up here, and then it retested it as support. You know what I'm saying? So, and now it's bouncing off of it as support again. That's what you want. You want a level, you want it to break through resistance and then retest it as support. That let us know it's a strong level. Now with this Moody stuff that's happening right now in the market, we with that stuff happening, obviously a lot of things broken down. Meta dropped all the way down to 628 in the after hours, but that kind of retested our, like when we did those damn, I said 628. Yeah, that's exactly where it dropped down to on what it went lower than that. It dropped down like the yeah, about 626 something, but the whole point is like it came down to these levels and it's down low again. It finished up here, but think about it. If let's say Meta opens, let's say where the markets are in the after hours right now. Let's say that's where the stocks or where the market opens on Monday, right? Let's just say because Meta closed at 640. Let's say it opens at 628 on Monday. It opens at 628. Well, my bad. Let's say it opens over 628. If it opens over 628, I'm sorry, under 628, then it's under this resistance level now. It's right at resistance again, but it's right here at this nine. But this nine gonna be at a different place by now, by then. But so it all depends. So this level will still be relevant if Meta opens at 628 because now it needs to get back through this level again. And with the weakness in the market, it may get rejected here. May not be, it may be people selling at this level now. So it all depends on what happens. So we have to, but we use these larger levels to kind of find setups. And I mean, we find these my best trades come from trading at key levels. So I'm always looking for stuff like that. And it always coming from previous price. So yeah, that's a good question. That's a great question though. But yeah, so to me, they're always going to be relevant. The level's always going to be relevant.
The reason I asked because like my chart, I have a lot of levels. Like I try to chart like at the end of every week. So I'm like, dang, I got so many lines on my chart. Like, do I need to like take them out? But I find that they still kind of like you said, key levels.
But you could keep the key ones on there. See, look, I'm gonna tell you, don't end up like me though, man, because what I do is a lot of times, like you see, this one of my clean ones. I gotta keep redoing different instances. The good thing about TradingView, you can have as many instances as you want. This is like my sixth instance of TradingView. So this one is a little clean. I consider this one clean. If I'd have went to like my solidified one, it's levels and graphs. I mean, levels and lines that I've been drawing all over the meta chart because I've been trading meta for so many years. So a lot of lines. And the good thing about being up here, we ain't been up in this area too long, so it's not but so many lines it's going to be up and
You
then
don't
this
got the
up
chart on,
here.
bro.
Yeah, I know, because I'm done with the charts now. I'm ready to go back and do this economic data
Okay,
right
hold
now.
on, hold on.
Yeah, I just kind of was, just a continuation of his question. So yeah, so yeah, I got to get to this economic data and these Fed speakers now because I love the questions. So look, so we got a few Fed speakers this week on this up. What's up, Kwame, man? I ain't nobody seen you in a while. Um, so we got a few Fed speakers this week. We got Bostic. That's the Atlanta Fed president. That's another one that you got to watch out for. They got him speaking tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Sometimes he likes to come out there and speak against what Powell says. So watch for him. He used to be a cool Fed, but now he does a lot of talking and it moves the market. So pay attention, watch out for him tomorrow morning at 8:30. But like I said, we got with the market, with Moody's dragging the market down the way it did, I'm not really sure what impact it's gonna have. We got Williams speaking Monday morning also at 8:30 a.m. We got Vice Chair Jefferson speaking Monday at 9:45 a.m. So they already putting the levies out there. They putting them levies out there right now. We got Logan speaking Monday at 1:15 p.m. So they got them levies out there on Monday. So they got them out. We got Musalam speaking Tuesday at 1 p.m. We got Daly speaking Tuesday. So Daly, she's another one that you got to watch out for. She says a lot of controversial stuff that goes against what Powell says too. And she's the Fed president of San Francisco and creates a lot of volatility in the market too. Luckily, she's not speaking. I just saw that until Tuesday at 7 p.m. So I really got to worry about too much about that. Hammock speaking Tuesday at 7 p.m. Then we got Williams speaking again Thursday at 2 p.m. Economic data, we got jobless claims Thursday, services PMI Thursday, manufacturing PMI Thursday. Damn, all this stuff Thursday. Existing home sales Thursday, and then we got new home sales Friday. So we don't have too much economic data. So hopefully we get a good flow in the market. But that Moody's report that already dragged the market down. Like I said, they cut out America's pristine credit rating down, citing rising debt. So it's a lot going on with that. And so, yeah, we got a lot of data happening this week. Now, like I told y'all right now, as of right now, I can't really, it's hard to really chart. It's really hard to chart the market right now because everything is down because of that Moody's report. I know y'all saw how everything is looking and the how the overall market is looking. QQQ is down to 514 right now. So, we got it's down substantially, significantly. Everything is down. Tesla is down. Look, from Tesla closed basically at 350 on Friday. It's down at 340. So it's like a lot of levels already been broken. A lot of things are down. So it's hard to chart under these circumstances. But what I can say, what I can do is where is QQQ at again? Yeah, 514. Now, so the market is down. The market is down, but it's not down significantly. It's not too bad. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom out though on this daily and show y'all this weekly. This is how it closed. Obviously, that's how it closed. But it's not structurally really broken. I would say it's not really structurally broken. I mean, QQQ is still holding up significantly. But like I just said, it's gonna be hard to really chart. If we hit this level, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, because we already taken out a lot of these levels. A lot of things got hit. But look at this. As far as QQQ on the week go, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back to the day. Because like this is where we open. Are we still inside on the day on Friday? Were we inside on the day on Friday? I believe we are. I think that is an inside candle. Hold on. Yeah, that's an inside candle. My bad. I didn't mean to do that. But I'm gonna leave it there anyway. So yeah, that was an inside candle. So we finished inside on QQQ anyway. And so it's yeah, we got to see how things play out, really, to be honest. I feel like I am gonna chart I got a few stocks that I am going to chart because we are in app loving and stuff like that. I'm going to provide the levels for them and stuff like that. But honestly, everything is down. I don't know how much of that's going to be down later on. Like we'll see when the futures market open in a few hours. But like I said, I don't really think that any true key levels are broken in terms of QQQ. I think we'll be fine, but we got to see. Let's see if it holds up at 505. If it continues down, we lose. See if we got any. Yeah, I'm not sure. Honestly, I can't. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to guess. That Moody's report is scary, to be honest. What we will be able to see on Monday morning is what the VIX does. See if the VIX actually what the VIX kind of switches over to. And also, let me see something. Let me just take another look at something. Eh, one sec. Yeah, interesting. Well, yeah, I guess it's because of how things close. Yeah, because I was looking at the fear and greed index, and it's at greed right now. Not extreme greed, not at anything, but that's probably going to recalculate, obviously, tomorrow. Yeah, it's hard to really give any now with me knowing what the market looks like right now in the after hours, what I know, like I said, I don't know if anybody in here was really paying attention or seeing. I'm just gonna kind of drag this other chart over here for a second. So like me knowing that that QQQ finished like this Friday after the close, it's kind of hard to really to chart this. You know what I'm saying? So what I can do is give you the next few levels where price could actually go, but I'm not sure that we're gonna even get. I really want to wait until where the Asian futures market opens at to see exactly what's really going on with these levels. Then I can chart the charts that we're going to trade and put them in the chat. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I'm not going to waste time trying to figure that out. And then the Asian futures market open. We see what Singapore does. I want to see exactly how Hong Kong and Shanghai handle this situation. But we get Japan at 8 p.m. So we'll see exactly how this goes and if we get another gap down. Now, personally, I feel like we get a gap down, we get a continuation to the downside. But I want to see how the Asian futures market open, and then I can kind of gauge which way to chart these, and because they may buy the dip, who knows? It may not be that serious to them. I doubt it, but let's just see. Let's see what happens first, and go from there. Y'all get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense because
Ye-
you don't,
Yeah, it's like it'll be a waste. It'll be a waste.
yeah,
I'd rather chart them in conjunction with what's going on, and then we can kind of see what if they're going to choose violence. I hope Japan chooses violence. Japan is normally more mild, and then when Shanghai and Hong Kong opens, then things get a little bit more active around 9:30 p.m. So we'll see. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave things at for now. But what I will say is when we get those when Shanghai and Hong Kong opens and we kind of see exactly what they're doing, then I can post my charts and I can give y'all where exactly. Because, like I said, this is a situation where we probably can get a nice continuation even further. They're going to make a big deal. They should make a big deal out of it. So we'll see exactly what happens and go from there. Because, like I said, we're already in app loving, and yeah, it looked like they're going into money, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Y'all feel me? Y'all ready for
yeah.
this week?
Thank
Y'all
you.
ready? Y'all
Yeah,
ready?
yeah,
All right, cool. Hey,
Oh
Alex,
yeah.
post that contract, bro. I need to see
yeah.
your contract.
I got caught up. I bought in the morning, so it went up a little bit. So I bought at different prices, but I spent some good money, and that $5,000 contract made me about seven, and the other 645s I bought three. They made me about like 200. I sold the last one for like 60 because I was gonna leave it as a runner, but then you just said sell, so I sold everything, and I had $1,000 contract, which at first my little contracts were down like $300 when it went up to 44. So I sold that one for a $50 profit, but I kept the other ones and made $1,000 at the end of the day, but them levels really helped me out.
No, you're welcome. Hey, KK, get him. No,
I ain't
seriously, you
saying
gotta get him. No,
look,
you gotta get him, get him, get him, get him. You gotta get him. You gotta
uh-uh.
get him. You gotta
I
get
Hey,
him.
just I
thanks, bro.
just yeah,
No,
let him.
no, but seriously,
I
no, what we will say, like I told KK to get you because she explained these types of things better than I do. But you gotta calm down though, because I'm gonna tell you something that I've been seeing though, and it's not from you, but I'm listening to you. That's probably why you won't post them contracts. But you're spending too much money, you're leveraging too much money, and then you're jumping in and you're jumping out anywhere, and it makes me nervous. So what happens is like this. I'm gonna tell y'all this though. If somebody came up to you on the street and said, "Look, I got this investment for you. I got this investment idea for you. If you give me 5,000, if you give me $1,000, give me $1,000. Now there's a possibility that you may lose all of your money, but if the investment works out, I'll give you $200 profit." Like what? I'm gonna risk my whole $1,000 that may not come back, and all I'm gonna get is a $200 profit? Nah,
absolutely not.
it's not it.
Nah,
If I'm
you're
putting up
trying to
a
get the
thousand.
high for what you spending. Nah, I understand that.
Nah,
Nah,
so
I did
no,
that.
but hold on. I want you to hear me out
Yeah.
though, because I'm not seeing that in the result. So what I'm saying is, it's like, I'll see a bunch of people like jumping in and they'll just post a bunch of contracts to kind of mask the fact that they was jumping in and then jumping out all over the place. The where I call out these plays at, you see, our trades are averaging over 200%. Like if you you average out the whole month, right? And it's like this, like consistently, right? But we having big profits because we're getting in at key levels for the most part. So if you're
Mhm.
getting in at those key levels, if you're going to spend $1,000, you should be making $1,000 at least.
Nah,
You
yeah,
know,
nah,
in
I
my
understand.
trades, you spending like a few $100s. We clearing over 100% of
Correct. Yeah,
trades. So there's no reason
yeah,
why you spending that much money. Because what people would think is, you know what, I'm gonna jump in real quick and I'm gonna put up all this money. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I see other people, other communities and stuff posting on threads and stuff like that, and I see they profits or whatever, and but you'll see them like, oh, they made this $8,000, but they put up like, they put up like ten
yeah,
thousand dollars. They bought
yeah.
like $5,000 worth of contracts, and then
Nah, that's
and
why I told you
but hold
about
on,
the
let me finish.
levels.
Let me finish though. Let me
Yeah,
finish because the results is not matching what you're saying though. You see the levels, but you got to get in at those key levels. You can't be missing. Like my man Quasi, shout out to Dobbs. He'll say, I missed that, I missed the entry, but I waited for the retest. I don't think
Right.
y'all using those words, but you're not really implementing it. You gotta, if you miss the trade, don't chase it. Wait for the retest. You don't want to get in that no man's land because remember we were on Zoom last week on live stream and you got out of that CVNA earlier. You had 4 contracts. I told y'all to
Mhm.
grab one. You had 4. You was in over your head as soon as it came back in retest, and I told y'all I was gonna blast through those levels and run like a bat out of hell. You sold when it retested because you were in over your head. You had too many contracts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but if you don't know how to recharge, you should slow down a little bit and just follow along, and then you can add to it as you go along. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. I like that the market talk helps, but I think you fumbled the TTD bag too, doing the same thing, chasing it a little too much, and it hit every level that it needed to hit. But you got to just slow down a little bit. Like I think you take way too many trades. I think you be into nobody should be. I feel like if you're a new trader, you should just be in one trade. But if there's swing trades involved, you may be in 1 or 2 trades. I wouldn't take more than 3 trades. And if you are in more than 3 trades, and you definitely have to take another, you have to sacrifice one of them. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
if you in Meta and Nvidia, you can't be in them at the same time. It's impossible. You can't be in
Right.
Meta and Tesla at the same time.
And
They're
Tesla.
extremely
Right.
too
yeah.
volatile. You can't be in
Excuse
them at the
me.
same time.
Yeah,
And
excuse me.
hold on one second. Let me finish because this is why y'all not learning because I'm talking and you're trying to get in words, so you can't be processing what I'm saying if you're trying to talk over me. Let me get it out. But because I'm just trying to help you. But now listen to you. But what I'm saying is like I want to see contracts. You can't tell me nothing if you're not gonna post a contract. I want to see the contract from your last meta trade to show me that you solidified that profit. And because I mean, it sounded like you was chopping all over the place, and I don't want that. I want that to happen to you because it's not going to end up. It's not going to end pretty for you, and you just got to have some restraint and some self control. I called out 3 trades last week, and we made over $3,000 off those trades. You get what I'm saying? So about 3 or whatever, something like that. But all I called out was 3 trades. So
Yeah,
and go ahead. You can go ahead and talk.
yeah. Cause these companies are like new to me, so I don't know the levels. Like App Lovin, I don't know the levels, But like the Meta, I didn't know the levels either, But I looked at the highs and lows on Google, and I went with Market Talk, right? And what happened with Meta was I had bought some contracts when the day began, and I bought an expensive contract, and what I did was I money managed, right? I kind of had a feeling it was gonna go to that, but when it started hitting
And look real quick.
44, I bought that $1,000 contract, and when it went down, I just, ended up getting rid of only that one. But I understand what you're saying, man. Like them contracts, the way you broke down the levels, I made top dollar, CVNA, same thing. I would have made top dollar, but I didn't have it on my notebook. And like you said, I had too many contracts and I've called losses before, so I kind of fumbled it on there. I made my money. With TTD, I made my money too. I just made a little mistake, I left some runners and I didn't wait till the next week hit, and you know, thing with UNH too. I made some money and then got in on the late time, and the shit started going up, and I thought it was still gonna, keep on going down, and it went up. But like, I'm listening to you, and I'm going in heavy on the good on the levels, and I'm trying to make my money back. Like I've been trading for a year, and I be working, double tasking. So it's kind of like one of those things where I wake up in the morning, I go to work like around 11 and whatnot. But hey, I'm listening, man. I'm paying attention, man. All the stuff you're telling me is real stuff. I
Yeah, no,
appreciate it,
so
man.
He
no,
just sounded like he all over the place, and working, and I don't have my notebook, and I don't like you have to organize yourself, and you have to take accountability for like what the situation is, because it's I work too. I work full time. I run a research clinic. I have 4 kids. I can tell you all my excuses. But at the end of the day, you have to organize yourself. Like what you were saying to me, you bought a contract, but you bought a contract because you believed something, as opposed to I looked at the chart, I followed what the price action was doing, and I entered at the right level so that I could make the most money. Like you said, all of the things that you did, and I spent $300 and made over that. I spent 375 and made over $1,000, and was in one contract doing one thing, completely focused. So when you're doing a lot and you grabbing all these contracts at different times, because you looking at a lower time frame, and so you buy in here, and you like, okay, if I buy here, then this should be good, and this is going to even this out. But then it start moving another way, and you're not zooming out, and so really all of the things that he's saying are good things, but you aren't really following those things. So we got to just try to refocus and organize yourself. I think you may benefit from possibly getting a coaching. All of the money that you're putting into the market, you should invest in your learning so that you're able to really do this, because it just sounds like you all over the place and you really want to do this. I can tell, but it's too much. You got too many things going on in your mind, and you kind of think you know what you're doing, but you really don't. And so I think you should really invest in a coaching, because it'll be really beneficial to you.
my thing is this though. I feel like this goes for everybody in the community. If you paid to be now, listen, everybody gets to different levels in trading, but I'm saying anybody who just started, my first goal would be getting like, damn, they making that much money a month. Every single month this year so far, they didn't cleared over a certain amount. Now we can forget last year. We can forget the year before last. Let's we forget our last year blessings and everything. Just look at what we're currently doing now. We haven't had a month yet that we cleared, this year, the 4,600 was the lowest amount that we made, and that was in January. And that's just one contract. If you're the type of person that buy 2 contracts, you doubling everything we make every month. And so this is one contract. Y'all jumping out of trades because you in over your head. If you just bought one contract, you said you're in a hole, you trying to get out. If you just buy one contract, for the month of January, one contract for only for the trades that I called out. These are net profits. So these aren't cherry pick trades. They got our wins and losses in here. You clear 4,600. February, all of our net profits, the wins and the losses. You feel me? $8,400 for February. March, net profits. Then you see the negatives in here too, the wins and the losses. You see everything in here. $6,100. In April, we're already at basically $5,000 for the month net profit. So basically, if you're paying somebody, you're paying monthly to be here. Why not just take the trades that are being alerted? Don't jump in because another person came in here and posted and said that they were in this trade, or you missed the UNH back when Curly Does It came in the chat and said UNH and it lost that key level on Wednesday night. Everybody should have jumped in that trade, or somebody should have asked some questions about it. If y'all didn't get in it, then it's okay. But the whole point, the next morning when the market opened, it took out. I charted it pre-market for everybody. It took out every single level, dropped another $25. You know what I'm saying? So that was another bag. These are the things where I would I'll fully accept that. But what I'm saying is, you see, I didn't include UNH. Now, some of us burnt UNH down, made over $5,000-$6,000. I didn't include that in this because it wasn't an official call out. I talked about it on my coaching, and we walked price down, the day after, but it wasn't an official call out. I don't take credit for those trades if I didn't alert it, and it can't be audited in the chat. It's not here. But the point is, if you're paying to be here, have some self-control and try it for a month. Just try. I try only taking the trades that are alerted for a month. Now, new members, I want to tell y'all this last thing too. I don't trade every day. I fired my job years ago. I'm not going to be tethered to the computer. I love to trade, and sometimes it can be to the point where, you know, everybody has a gambling gene in them at some point, right? In some way, right? So if you look at it like that, then you have to realize, okay, sometimes you have to, like, you got that gambling gene. It's and you gotta get rid of it. And you gotta just snap back into shape. So like there are days of the week where I just don't trade at all. And or sometimes when you know what, I'm not feeling it today. I'm gonna come back with fresh eyes, but we're up. I'm not going to trade every day. That doesn't mean you should go linger and now you're going to force something to happen. Because if I'm not trading, most of the time it's for a reason. There's no setups or it's a low volume day. You know, you may see a great setup, but it's a low volume day. So it's a nice chance that your trade don't play out. I see a lot of people posting, they got to trade every day. But they be getting like, you know, $100 here, $200 here, $300 here, you know, and it's like you're going in shark infested waters every single day not to make a lot of money. You know, when I come in there, like I said, I called out 3 trades last week. We cleared over $3,000. You know what I mean? It was definitely over $3,000 in net profit for last week over a few trades. You know, but it was a lot of people that could not just be restrained, and they had to prove that they can trade whether I was trading or not. And they didn't even make half of that. You know what I'm saying? Didn't take my trades, missed all my trades, or their money didn't settle because they were in trades. They had to press these buttons. You know what I mean? And they're losing left and right, but you paying to be here, right? So just have some restraint and try to just take the trades that are alerted. You know, I got a proven strategy. It works. We're not holding these losers. You know, if the trade is a loser, we're gonna cut the loser and we're gonna make that money back on the next trade. We're cutting them as soon as as the structure breaks in certain situations, right? We don't have that many losses. You know what I mean? So it's like, we really in here doing what needs to be done? And you can go back and look at the ledger for the last 3 years if you want. And if you want to see every single trade, you can scroll back through the chat, through the call outs channel, and you can see every single trade from 2001. I'm sorry, 2021, right? So we just been killing it for a long time. So if you here because of that, get over yourself, get over the gambling gene, have some discipline, and get this money, and then run it up. Then you got some house money, and then you can take a little bit more chances, and then it helps with your trading psychology too, because you're not playing with the king's ransom or the family jewels or the rent money. You know what I'm saying? You got some house money. Let me run you up and get you some house money. Then you can go ahead and buy 30 meta contracts or 30 Palantir trades, or make TTD happen, or whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want for y'all. I want y'all to be successful. I want y'all to make this extra money so you can, fire them people and work for yourself, buy your time back, do whatever you want to do, go on a vacation, anything you want to do. But that's what we're doing. We're making that type of money around here. And if you are the type to buy more than one contract, you can do that. But at this rate, like I said, we already cleared over 32,000 for the year off one contract, and that's just, I'm always give you the one contract number because you're only risking the amount of one contract on a trade and you're generating as much money as we're making. So it's no reason for nobody to be losing here unless they just got this gambling gene and they can't control themselves. So, I just want y'all to take that and let's just make this a successful week, man, and try to close out this month strong. Thank y'all for hopping on, and I really appreciated the interaction today. That's great, and let's just try to keep that
Yes.
type of interaction coming. Thank
Thanks
y'all.
so much for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you. I
Cheers.
appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, Alex. Post that contract, man, or it never happened.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, I
All
got
right.
you. I got you.
All right. Peace.
Thank you.
No problem.